When a show runs for 10 seasons, there's bound to be some turnover, but that doesn't always mean they stay gone forever. Will Jessie Lee Soffer make a return to Chicago PD in 2023? In other news, do you think Heels Season 2 is still happening? And is Deborah Jo Rupp going to reprise her role in Marvel's upcoming Agatha Coven of Chaos? The answer to these questions and much more is coming right up in this video. Let's get to it. First up, will Jessie Lee Soffer return to Chicago PD in 2023? Let's be honest, 2022 was an interesting but very trying year for Chicago PD fans. Of course, we're used to a shakeup in the cast here and there, but nothing could have prepared us for the departure of Jessie Lee Soffer in this season. Soffer's been part of the franchise since before Chicago PD premiered, making his debut in Chicago Fire. Needless to say, Soffer has always been a vital part of the cast, and it's impossible to imagine the series going on without him. Soffer quickly became a breakout favorite amongst fans as Detective Jay Halstead, who often acted as the moral compass for the team when the lines began to get a bit blurry. And though his character's presence can still be felt on the show, Chicago PD just hasn't been the same since Soffer left. So has Soffer left for good, or is there a possibility that he'll find his way back to the show in 2023? It's good to know that Soffer left Chicago PD on friendly terms and has always returned in order to direct an episode after his exit. So yes, it's absolutely possible that we'll see Soffer return at some point, and maybe even as soon as 2023. The biggest factor on Soffer being able to return, of course, is his character having to be alive, which is the case for Detective Halstead. And as we've seen with Chicago Fire, there's a precedent of characters who had departed returning for guest spots to revisit their storylines or even tie up some messy loose ends. All of which is to say, maybe we haven't seen the last of Detective Halstead just yet. Following is Heels Season 2 still happening. Heels, created by Michael Waldron, made its premiere on Starz in August 2021 and is set in a town called Duffy, Georgia. The series puts a spotlight on professional wrestling in a small town, examining the family-owned wrestling promotion of Duffy Wrestling League, also known as the DWL. Over the course of the first season of Heels, brothers Jack and Ace Space, portrayed by Amel and Alexander Ludwig, respectively, butt heads as they attempt to shape the DWL after the death of their father. As time goes on, they have to come to terms with what really matters to them. Filming concluded several months ago, having started in March 2022, yet there has been absolutely no concrete news on when Season 2 of Heels may arrive, nor any teaser trailers, or any trailer for the supposedly upcoming episodes. So what's happening with Heels? Finally, Amel has given an update on the status of his wrestling series during an appearance on Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Though the interview was admittedly recorded back in September 2022, he did sound very confident about the future of Heels, even mentioning the possibility of a Season 3. They just have to untangle some things that have gotten in knots following Lionsgate's acquisition of Starz in 2016. This process is expected to be resolved over the next few months, and the cancellation and removal of several original shows has made fans a bit nervous about the future of Heels. It's being so quiet and all, but if we're to believe Amel, we have absolutely nothing to worry about, and the show will continue. When do you think Season 2 of Heels will be released? Next up is Deborah Jo Rupp reprising her role in Marvel's upcoming Agatha Coven of Chaos. After the huge success of WandaVision series, Disney announced the spin-off Agatha Coven of Chaos. To the happiness of fans, WandaVision introduced us to Deborah Jo Rupp as Mrs. Hart in the premiere episode of the series, a character who shares many of the quirky and anxiety-filled characteristics that made Rupp's portrayal of her iconic role as Kitty Foreman on that 70s show so much fun. That is, until Wanda's fake reality broke down, and it turned out that Mrs. Hart was actually a woman by the name of Sharon Davis, who lived in Westview, and according to Deadline, Rupp will also be featured in the upcoming spin-off Agatha Coven of Chaos. If that's the case, Rupp will be joining a cast that consists of both familiar faces and new names, with Kathryn Hahn at the helm as she reprises her role as the show's titular character, who also just happens to be one of the MCU's most powerful witches. Agatha Coven of Chaos started filming filming mid-November in 2022 and is expected to be released on Disney Plus somewhere in 2023. Though no official premiere date has been released yet, there have also been no other casting details announced, which gives the entire project a bit of a mystery, but we're sure more news will start trickling in soon. Are you excited to find out how significant Rupp's role will be in the series as well? Don't go anywhere just yet. Next, Stephen Moffat has shared an encouraging update on Season 2 of Inside Man, and did Netflix seriously lose its showrunner for the Assassin's Creed series? When can we expect The Boys spin-off Gen V to be released? Find out later on in this video. Now let's continue. First up, what's the encouraging update from Stephen Moffat on Inside Man Season 2? It seems like the first season of Inside Man has done very well for Netflix. In the first episode of the thriller series, we're introduced to Stanley Tucci's Jefferson Grief, a former criminology professor who finds himself on death row for killing his wife, giving advice on cold cases. Grief's path crosses that of Lydia West's Beth Davenport, a crime journalist, and David Tennant's Harry Watling, an English vicar who will do anything to protect his son. Sadly, in practice, this usually means that the situation is made much worse than it has to be. Over the course of 4 episodes, Grief's cunning and Watling's desperation set the stage for some shocking developments, and it all comes to a frustrating halt on a cliffhanger that clearly sets the stage for more of Grief. But as there has been no news on the series whatsoever, fans are starting to wonder whether there's ever going to be a continuation of the story of Inside Man. The show received mixed reviews, though the talented cast was definitely praised, with most complaints revolving around the show's logical shortcomings and some bewildering character decisions. Despite that, Inside Man has been very successful, and Stephen Moffat, who's also known for his work on shows such as Doctor Who and Sherlock, has given an encouraging update regarding the series, confirming that there have been discussions about Inside Man Season 2, adding that the show performed really well for Netflix. Hopefully this means we'll get a real update soon. What do you think will happen if Inside Man continues? Next, Netflix has lost its showrunner for the Assassin's Creed series. After the failure of the Assassin's Creed movie, the upcoming live-action series is supposed to bring the battle between the Templar and the Brotherhood in the world of the Assassin's Creed to the small screen as a potential reboot for the franchise. The franchise revolves around an eternal battle between the two warring factions who rely on assassinations and manipulation to change the world, which has been going on since the days of ancient Egypt. The Brotherhood, in the modern day, has the ability to take advantage of technology that allows them to view the lives of previous assassins, learning from their ancestors and using their knowledge to work to defeat the ever-powerful Templars, which sounds like a very promising place to start an adaptation from, and absolutely a successful formula in the game. But the success of a game isn't a guarantee that the adaptation will be any good. The upcoming series must, at all costs, avoid making the same mistakes the movie did, which was simplifying the overall story and making time jumps more palatable, which is going to be a difficult prospect. Given the fact that the entire franchise kind of revolves around a jumping timeline, but the series has been met with bad luck, and the Netflix show has had to say goodbye to its showrunner Jeb Stewart, who you may recognize from his work on Die Hard and Vikings Valhalla. The loss of an experienced showrunner like Stewart could be a bad sign for the project, but on the other hand, it's not like things like this never happen. Hopefully the person who will set up to take over can live up to the expectations that keep getting higher and higher. And lastly, when can we expect The Boys spin-off Gen V to be released? The Boys is an Amazon Prime original based on Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson's comics, which has been a huge success, and that success has paved the way for the franchise to move forward with plans to expand. This has resulted in the creation of the show's very first spin-off, Gen V. Gen V follows an entirely new group of characters. While some will be familiar with the original series, with some of The Boys alums already confirmed to make an appearance in the upcoming spin-off, the rather bloody and adult-oriented show is officially confirmed to be released in 2023 after Season 3 of The Boys secretly set up the spin-off, but so far Prime Video has yet to provide a specific window for when subscribers will be able to watch the new series. Well, aside from that tweet, the official Twitter account sent out to ring in the new year on January 1st, which teased the release date to be sometime before December 31st, 2023. On its own, the tweet sounds like a joke, but there was another tweet that could give this tease more meaning. The response to the initial tweet that 2023 was its favorite number, the account also said, other than the 7. Could this mean that Gen V is coming out on July 7th? What makes this series theory even more interesting is that the fact that July 7th just happens to be a Friday as well, which is traditionally the day of the week that Prime Video releases new episodes of major shows such as The Boys. When do you think Gen V will be released? And that's it. Would you like to see Jessie Lee Soffer return to Chicago PD as well? Let us know in the comments what you think, and thanks for watching.